All right, y'all. Welcome to the Dabbin Daniel Podcast, and today I have a very special guest. Introduce yourself, young brother.
Yo, Zion Chapman, aka Z Say Go. Go follow that on IG, dig.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. So, question, my brother. What do you think about police brutality as an issue, my brother?
Man, police brutality, man, I feel like it's an issue that's been really destructive in the black community over the course of time. I also think that's an issue that a lot of Americans like to ignore. But I mean, I think in the coming times that it's going to be an issue that's going to be more and more pressing to the media, and that with all the black innovative thoughts that have been generating over the past few decades, we're gonna find a solution to it all.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, yeah, in the black community, it's been heavily affected, like you said, by police brutality. But did you know there was an organization that stood up against police? They were called the Black Panther Party.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
these are
Black
radicals.
Panther Party established
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. These are radicals.
1969, Oakland, California.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. That's right. Shoot. And do you think they need to come back?
Oh,
My
definitely.
brother.
Well, I mean, I know they're still underground and everything, but I really think now that we got more of the resources and we have the original Black Panthers to kind of pave the way, so I think if we restarted it, it would be real advanced in a lot of different ways. We have more resources, I think.
Also, instead of having the gangs like the Crips and the Bloods, I think we have them unite and then call it the Black Panther Party because they were able. They even when I read the autobiography of the Black Panther Party, they recruited people from the ghetto. So it's not like this hasn't been done before. You recruit the Crips and the Bloods in the Black Panther Party, and they can serve as as soldiers in the war against the race soldier or the police. Now I'm not saying we should go kill cops. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we should stand up against the corruption of police brutality. And also, I know that there are a lot of good cops in the police department, but for those good cops, they often remain silent. And to me, silence equals complacency. I'm going to say it again. Silence equals complacency. Do you agree with that, young brother?
Yeah, man, I definitely agree. Silence has never been a good thing to me because closed mouths don't get fed. And also a lot of people can't read minds, so whatever opinion you may have, so the complacency thing is just automatically the default for people who don't speak up. But I also believe that the complacency and the will to not speak up about the issues going on around you is real prevalent in the black community as well. Because I feel like if we all stood together, then we make a way bigger stand than we have over the course of time. You see, like back when the Montgomery bus boycotts and everything happened, we see what happens when black people stand up. So I believe that one of the biggest enemies in the community of the destruction of our community is ourselves rather than anyone else. So I believe once we work out all the internal conflicts and the external conflicts will work themselves out.
I definitely agree with you on some of that. But sometimes within the black community, you got people who don't want to come together. They still want to be down in the struggle instead of trying to uplift people and to get out of the struggle. Like you got the people who are drug dealers, who are pimps and all that stuff. Um, and it's just like that's a problem because you are not elevating your people. You want your people to stay down and keep them down so you can be on top. And that's a problem we got to deal with in the community. We also got to deal with these, what I like to call them, is pimping preachers. These preachers are preachers who preach only about the tithe, the tithe, the tithe, the tithe, but they don't ever teach you about the Word of God. And if they do teach you about the Word of God, it ties into the tithe and to have them get richer and richer and richer and tell you what you want to hear rather than what you need to hear. Do you think that's a problem as well, brother?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a problem because obviously church is something that everybody thinks that they can depend on, and I think the word definitely preaches that. But for me specifically, I'm all about self-education. I personally don't believe that someone is bound for hell if they don't go to church because I believe that everything man-made is up to up for discussion. Anything man-made definitely has to be checked before you allow dependency because even like I said, something as dependable as the church may seem, there's definitely some internal things inside the church that's going on that could really send people in the wrong direction. So I believe that I'm not saying don't go to church, but I believe that you should have something outside of church that keeps you close to God, so you don't get so caught up in the human-made church and the human-made spirituality, and we get to really get into that actual like spiritual connection with God rather than just tithes and offerings.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I also agree with you, like, hey, you need to get more spiritual, more spiritual. That's why you need to be prayed up. You also need to read up on the Word, man, because sometimes you have to read the Bible for yourself. If you're a Christian, if you're a self-proclaimed Christian or Hebrew or whatever, you need to read the Bible for yourself. Don't let some pastor tell you what the Word says and you not read for yourself, because a lot of times what they say is in the Word. If you check him, you have the Bible app, pull it up, download it on Google Play or whatever device you got, or just get a regular copy. That Bible that's sitting there collecting dust, pick it up and read it once in a while. You'll be shocked that's what's in there. Like what I learned about the tithe, it's not money. It's actually food and grain. If you go in the Old Testament, back in Exodus, when they were in Leviticus, when they were establishing the nation and everything, they did the tithe as a means of food and grain, and you have to bring it to the temple. So, yeah, you learn a lot of stuff in the Bible that they don't teach you in the church, also in the Bible, it talks about how you always read the book of Malachi. Will a man rob God? But they don't really teach you that during that time frame. If you read the context, if you read the chapter, the full chapter or the full book of Malachi, it was during the time when Israel was not giving their best, and they were giving bullcrap offerings to the Lord, and so the Lord was discontent with them. He's like, I'm not accepting these offerings. You robbing me because you're not giving me the best like you're supposed to. You're robbing me. You're robbing this whole nation of the blessing. And he said, bring all the tithes, bring your best into the storehouse. That's what he's talking about. But you see so many pastors and so many so-called preachers get up there and say, well, a man robbed God, you have robbed me. And it's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. That's the problem. What do you think, brother?
I think anytime that somebody tries to speak on the Bible, they have to really go into it with an open mind, because, in all honesty, the Bible speaks truth, but also we're in challenging times. So a lot of things, and some of it is on purpose and some of it is intentional, but also the Bible was written so long ago that things can be taken out of context, and it's just hard to translate. Sometimes it's hard to translate some of those older principles to now in times, because everything's changing. We live in a world where everything's evolving, everything's changing. Every 2 weeks there's a new iPhone. So it's like we really just have to grab the fundamentals of the Bible and just stay true to those and try to hold on to those.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, yeah. So I agree with everything you're saying, and I just I really feel like, hey, it's a pleasure having you on this wonderful podcast. All my followers on Instagram and everything else, I need you to check out this podcast called the Dabbin Daniel Podcast. I invite anybody, men, women, anybody. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you have to say. For the black community or other communities, it doesn't matter. Come here and you can say whatever you want to say. And that's it. I'm out. Peace. Yeah. Check out this channel. Yeah. Check out my YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and check out this podcast. Yeah. Super Bowl. Yeah.